Okay, so for our basket tutorial, I am using t-shirt yarn. I'm using a light white one for the base and the beginning of my sides, and this darker tan one. And my t-shirt yarn is from Bobilon Yarn, and it's a medium weight yarn. So t-shirt yarn is a little bit different than regular yarn. So if you're looking for alternatives to use, just know it needs to be about 7 to 9 millimeters wide. Is the type of t-shirt yarn that I'm using. Along with the t-shirt yarn, I am using a size N, which is a 15, and it's a 10 millimeter crochet hook. I have a large one from Susan Bates, and you'll need about 5 stitch markers so that you don't lose your spot while we're making our basket. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to start, we're going to be making an oval shape for our basket. So start by placing a slip knot on your hook, and then we're going to chain 17. Okay. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be single crocheting along the edge of our chain, doubling up down here, and working along the opposite edge, and then doubling up here. So we're going to skip the first chain and then work 1 single crochet in each chain all the way across. Okay, so you should have 16 single crochet here, and then we are going to be working 2 additional single crochet in this last chain. So what I like to do is work my first one and then kind of hide that knot in that second one, and then here's the third one. So we've worked a total of 3 single crochet into that last chain, and now we're going to be working all the way along the edge back into these same chain stitches, and we're going to work 14 single crochet. Okay, so that's 14, and then we're going to work 2 stitches into this beginning chain down here. So 1 and 2. Okay, and then what I like to do is mark where my straight sides are going to be. So this was our first stitch. You're going to place a marker in the second stitch. And then this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 in the 15th stitch. And then we're going to come over here along the other side. So these 3 stitches, these next 3, so 16, 17, 18, are kind of like our curve of our oval. So in 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Okay, so where these stitch markers are, from this stitch marker to this stitch marker and this stitch marker to this stitch marker, these are our straight edges. So we know that we're only ever going to work 1 single crochet into each one of those stitches. Okay, and then what I also like to do, starting with round 2, since we are working in continuous rounds, we're not joining, I have an extra stitch marker, and I'm always going to be marking the first stitch of my round. Okay, so now for round 2, we're going to start by working 2 single crochet into the first stitch. So there's 1, 2, and I'm going to go ahead and place my marker in the first stitch I made so I know where I am stopping. Okay, then we are going to single crochet 14, and I like to move my markers up every round. So once I work my stitch, I put my marker back in place. And then we're just going to single crochet until we reach the next marker. All right, so here is stitch 14. And then let's replace the marker. Okay, and then we're going to be doing some increasing around these next 3 stitches, which is like the curved part of our oval. So in the next 3 stitches, I'm going to work 2 single crochet in each one of the next 3. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, my stitch markers are scraping along the edge of my board here. And then 5 and 6. And then again, we are going to single crochet 14. So going from stitch marker along the other side of our oval. So just single crochet all the way down until you get to the next marker. Okay. So this is our 14th single crochet. So you'll always be working 14 single crochet along each edge from marker to marker. And you include the marked stitches in that. And then for our last 2 stitches, just like we did on the other end, we're going to work 2 single crochet in each of the last 2. There's 2. And then 3 and 4. Okay, and we've gotten to the end of round 2. So your oval may want to kind of curl up on you at first, but don't worry. Once we're done and we can block our basket, it'll lay more flat. Okay, so for round 3, we are going to single crochet into the first stitch. And again, replace our marker. And then we're going to work 2 single crochet into the next one. And then we're going to single crochet 14, so from marker to marker, replacing our markers as we go. So then for the stitches in between our markers, we are going to single crochet 2 stitches. So 2 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next. We're going to work 2 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2, and 1, 2, then 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and 2 single crochet in the last stitch before the marker. Then again, work your 14 single crochet from marker to marker, replacing your markers as you go. Okay, and then to finish up our round, after our last single crochet stitch along the edge, we're going to work 2 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochet in each of the last 2 stitches. Okay, so now we're at the end of round 3. Okay, so for round 4, we're going to work 1 single crochet in the first stitch and replace our marker. Then we're going to work 2 single crochet in the next stitch. So 1 and 2. And then we're actually working 16 single crochet because we're working 1 in this stitch, and then we're working our 14, and then we'll work 1 more after the marker. So make sure that you're always moving those markers up just so you know where those 14 stitches will be. You always know those 14 stitches will just be single crochet. So continue working single crochet until your next marker. Okay, so I'm going to replace my marker here. And then work 1 last single crochet for my total of 16 along this edge. Then I am going to work 2 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet, and I'm going to work 2 single crochet in the next stitch, 1, 2, 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet in the next, one single crochet, and then 2 single crochet in the next one. And then again, I'm going to single crochet 16. So this next stitch will be a single crochet. And then as always, we're going to single crochet from stitch marker to stitch marker. Okay, so I just finished this last bark stitch, and I know that the following stitch will also just be 1 single crochet. So I have a total of 16 single crochet along this edge. And then I'm going to work 2 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next, 2 single crochet in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet in each of the next 2. Oops, I'm already doubling up. Okay, 1, 2. So used to doing doubles. Okay, and then 2 single crochet in the last stitch. And that is the end of round 4. Okay, so now for round 5, we're going to single crochet into that first stitch. and then replace our marker. And then we're going to do 2 single crochet in the next stitch. And then we're going to single crochet for 18. So we've got our 14 stitches between our markers, and then 2 stitches on either side that will just be single crochet. So go ahead and continue to single crochet across until you reach your second stitch marker. And make sure to replace the markers after each stitch that you make. So move that up with your round. Okay, so I just did the last marked stitch, and I'm going to do 2 more single crochet, and then I'm going to work 2 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet into the next stitch, or we can just call it an increase, single crochet 4, increase, so 2 single crochet in this stitch, 1 single crochet in the next, 2 single crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to work 18 single crochet along this edge just as we did this side. So go ahead and work 18 stitches. You'll end 2 stitches after your second marker. Okay. So I stopped 2 stitches after my stitch marker. So we know the next stitch we're going to increase. So work 2 single crochet, then 1 single crochet in the next, increase in the next one, so 2 single crochet, 1, 2, we're going to work 4 single crochet, 2, ooh, it's getting tough to work with, 3 and 4, and we're going to end round 5 with an increase, so 2 single crochet into the last stitch. Whew. Okay, end of round 5. And then I don't know if you can tell, but the curve of our oval is starting to kind of square off a little bit. So starting with round 6, we're going to change up where our increases are going. Just be aware that there is a little bit of a difference here. Okay, so for round 6, we're going to single crochet in the first stitch and then replace our marker. And then we're going to single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So you'll do 3 just regular single crochet. Then we're going to increase in the next stitch. So work 2 single crochet in the next stitch. Then we're going to be working a total of 16 single crochets. So you'll work until 1 stitch after your second marker. Okay, so that's our 16th single crochet. Then we're going to increase in the next stitch, which is 2 single crochet in 1 stitch, and then we're going to single crochet 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ooh, there we go, and 6. and then we're going to work an increase in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2 in the first stitch, oops, and 1, 2 into the second stitch. Then we're going to single crochet 6 again. So 1, 2, oops, hands are getting tired. Here we go. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Ooh, all right, so we made it around our curve. And then we're gonna work an increase. So 2 single crochet into the next stitch. And then we're gonna work our 16 single crochet, and your last one will be one after your second marked stitch. Okay, so I've gotten to 1 past my marked stitch. I'm going to increase in the next stitch. So work 2 single crochet. And then we're going to single crochet for 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to increase in the next 2 stitches. So there's 1 and 2. And we're going to end by working 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. All right, and that is the end of round 6. And we're just kind of trying to get our curve of our oval a little bit more rounded here. Okay, for round 7, we're going to single crochet 3, making sure to replace our beginning stitch marker after that first stitch. So that was 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to increase. So 2 single crochet in the next stitch. 1 and 2. And then we are going to be single crocheting 18. So your last stitch will be 2 stitches after your second stitch marker. So go ahead and single crochet 18, making sure to replace your stitch markers as you go. Okay, so we just finished single crocheting for 18. Then we're going to increase. And then again, just like our previous round, we're going to single crochet for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we're going to increase in the next stitch. Single crochet 2. increase in the next stitch, and then single crochet 6, this is 4, 5 and 6. Whew. Okay, increase in the next stitch, and then we're going to single crochet for 18, again ending 2 stitches after our second marker. So I've done 18 single crochet, ending 2 after my second marker. I'm going to increase into the next stitch, and then single crochet for 6, and 3, 4, 5 and 6. Then we're going to increase in the next stitch, single crochet 2, increase in the next stitch, and then we're going to end again with 3 single crochet. And that is the end of round 7. All right, so our basket base is getting pretty nice and big here. We're going to do at least one more round before we start working on the side. Okay, for round 8, which is the last round of our base, we're going to start by single crocheting into the first stitch, and then replacing our marker. And then we are going to increase into the next stitch, so we're 2 single crochet into the next, and then we're going to single crochet for 24. So you're going to end 5 stitches after your second marker, so single crochet 24 across the edge of your base, making sure to continue replacing your markers as you work. Okay, so I've single crocheted 24. I've ended 5 stitches after my second marker. Then we're going to work another increase. Then we're going to single crochet 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Then we'll work another increase. Oops. 1, 2. Okay, and then we're going to single crochet 6. And 6, And then we are going to increase again. Single crochet 3. And then increase. And then again, we're going to single crochet 24. You'll end 5 stitches after your second marker. Okay, so I just single crocheted for 24, ending 5 stitches after my second marker. So now we're going to work an increase. Three single crochet, there's 3, and then we're going to increase, single crochet 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to increase again. And then we're going to end working 2 single crochet. So 1 single crochet in each of the last 2 stitches. And that is the end of round 8, and we are done with the hard part. So we have our nice big oval base for our basket. And from here on out, we are going to be continuing to work in continuous rounds. Okay, so before we can start our sides, we need to do a setup round of slip stitches. So in order to do this, we're going to slip stitch into our first stitch here. Then we're going to turn our basket over so the wrong side is facing us. And we're going to slip stitch into each stitch all the way around. Just like this. And what this is doing is giving us a nice edge here for the base of our basket, so that when we start working our slip stitches for the sides, it'll just go straight up from these slip stitches. So continue slip stitching in each stitch all the way around until we get back to our first stitch right here. Okay, so I've made all the way around with my slip stitches, and now I'm just going to slip stitch to the front loop only of my first slip stitch, and this just ensures that we don't have a gap in the bottom of our basket. Okay, and then we're going to chain 1 and turn. And for round 11, this can be a little bit of a harder round to do because we're working in the back loop only of those slip stitches. We're going to skip that slip stitch that we just made, and we're going to work into the back loop of our last slip stitch of the round, and we're going to single crochet. And we're going to be single crocheting in the back loop only from here on out. And these slip stitches can be a little bit hard to get into, so if you need to use your left hand to kind of pull up that back loop to insert your hook, you can definitely do that. I've definitely done that with this. But we're just going to be single crocheting into the back loop of each slip stitch around. And then I like to move my stitch marker and place it into the first stitch, so that way I know where I'm stopping and starting my rounds. And all other stitch markers at this point I have taken out of my basket. I won't need those. So you can remove the ones that we were marking just the straight edges of our basket with. So continue to single crochet into the back loop of every slip stitch all the way around. And you can see that it's giving us a nice clean edge and base of our basket. And we're going to be working with the white yarn for this round and one more round before switching over to the tan. And these are also going to be continuous rounds. So once I get all the way around, I'll show you how to work continuously from here on out. Okay, so I've made it all the way back around. I'm going to work my last few stitches here, making sure I'm going into the back loop, getting it into that first stitch. Okay, so now for our next round, I'm not going to join, I'm just going to continue working, again going into the back loop of our first single crochet and just working single crochet in the back loop all the way around. And this will be my last round with the white. The following round we will switch to the tan. So here you can see a little bit of the join here, but we're just going to continuously work all the way around, making sure that we change color right here where the stitch marker is when it's time. But just continue to work around, single crochet into the back loop only. Okay, so I've made around one more time with the white, and I only have a little bit left, so I'm going to go ahead and change to the tan. And you can see here, this is my last stitch of the round, and that's where I'm going to make my change. So I'm going to insert my hook into the back loop of the last stitch, yarn over, pull up with white. I now have 2 loops on my hook, and I'm going to leave a kind of long tail here of the tan just for weaving in at the end. And I'm going to use my last yarn over and use that with the tan yarn to switch colors. And then you might just have to pull on the ends just to make sure that it's nice and tight. And then I can start my next round with the tan yarn, again working single crochet into the back loop only. And we're going to do that all the way around. And we're going to continue working rounds. And this is the perfect time. You can shorten your basket if you'd like to. You don't have to do all the rounds that I have written into the pattern if you want your basket a little bit shorter. But for this basket, I'm going to work a total of 27 rounds. So once you've got in 27 rounds total, that includes the base rounds, you'll have about 17 rounds on the sides. Once you finish that with the tan yarn, we'll be ready to finish up our basket and add the straps. Okay, so here I have finished up all my rows for my basket, and I've gotten to my beginning stitch here. So instead of working a single crochet into the back loop, I'm just going to slip stitch into the back loop to finish off my basket. So it's going to be a little bit of a hump here when you're all done, but that's okay. And then I'm just going to cut a long tail for seaming. Okay, so now that we have fastened off, when I go to weave in this end, I'll pull it into the inside of the basket. And then we want to have stitch markers on the stitches where our handles are going to be. So in order to get the right spot, you're going to look for where you fastened off and count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Place a marker in the 11th stitch from the beginning, and then you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Mark it in the 10th stitch from this stitch marker. So you have 10 stitches, 11 stitches, including both stitch markers. Then you're going to count 33 stitches around and place your next marker on the other side. And then in between the markers, you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Place a marker in the 10th stitch from this marker, and then double check and make sure that you also have 33 stitches around this side as well. But your stitch markers should be in line with each other on either side. And then what we're going to do, this can be a little bit tricky. We're going to be doing surface slip stitches up our sides like this along on the outside so that you can see the stitches going up, and then we're going to create our handle. So here I have, on this side I have my 2 stitch markers. I'm going to start with my stitch marker that's on the left hand side. I'll do my best to show this to you. So here's my stitch, and this is that horizontal line. So I'm going to follow that horizontal line, making sure I'm lining it up with the right stitch all the way down to the end of my basket. And then I want to insert my hook through the base of the basket. And we want to get it inside. Okay? Then I'm going to take the rest of my tan yarn, and I'm going to hold my tan yarn on the inside of my basket with my left hand, hook it on, and pull it through. So this can be a little bit finicky. Your left hand is going to be on the inside of the basket holding the yarn once you get that thread through. So I've got a long tail for seaming in, and your right hand is going to be on the outside of the basket working the hook. Okay, so this is the stitch we just went into. And if we go directly above right here, we're going to insert our hook in the inside with our left hand. We're going to kind of finagle it, pull it through, and then slip stitch. Okay? Then following the same horizontal lines into each stitch, we're going to go, here's the horizontal line, we're going to go right on top of it, insert our hook again. Here, I can show you what's happening on the inside. So here's the inside, and if you need to look, that's fine too. So here's my working yarn. I wrap it around the hook, pull it through, and then slip stitch. Okay, so then here's the next horizontal line. I'm going to go right above it, put my hook inside, yarn over, pull it through, and slip stitch. And we're going to do this all the way up to the top of the basket to where our marked stitch is. So we're going to be creating these, what looks like sewn on straps, onto our basket. So the key here is just to keep following that same stitch all the way up. And we just insert our hook, yarn over, keeping the yarn, working yarn in our left hand. And luckily this basket, it's not going to be super sturdy on the sides. It will flop over, but that kind of makes it easier for us to get our hooks in there and to do this technique for our strap. So just going up, following that stitch. best we can. Try not to get too tight with our slip stitches here. We'll see. Sometimes you might have to redo it just in case, but here's what's going to look like when you're working your surface slip stitch up. We are almost to the top here. Almost to our marked stitch. Okay, and then we're going to work a slip stitch into the marked stitch. Oops, slip it. Okay, so here's what we'll have so far. We've got our slip stitches, surface slip stitches going up, and we started all the way at the bottom here, so it just kind of looks like it flows over. And now for this one, we are going to be chaining to make our little handle, and then we'll be connecting it right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stitches in between. We're going to double that, and we're going to chain 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. And then just kind of double check, make sure that it's the size of handle that you would want. If you want it a little bit taller, you can definitely make it a little bit taller, which I might do. I think I'm going to add 2 more. So let's do 20. Let's see. Okay, I think 20 might be a little bit better. So once you get the handle as tall as you'd like, you can adjust your chains here to fit your needs or whatever you want your basket to look like. We're going to cut off a long tail, just like this. And then when we work our slip stitches up this other side of the basket, we'll work back into these chains. So for now, I'm going to weave this through just like that, so it's somewhat attached here. And then I'm going to work my surface slip stitches on this side where this marked stitch is. So looking at the marked stitch, following it, following those horizontal lines all the way down to the base. Okay, so let me get it inside. And then again, taking my tan yarn, we're going to use my left hand, go inside the basket, find the hook, and pull it through, just like that. Okay, and again, following up those horizontal stitches, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, got the tail in there for a second, and then slip stitch. And then find the next horizontal line, insert your hook above it, yarn over, pull through, and slip stitch. And then the next horizontal line, insert hook, yarn over, pull through, and slip stitch. And we're just gonna, just like we did the other side, work all the way up our basket, making sure to stay in line with the stitch where our marked stitch is. And if you find that it's pulling too tight, definitely loosen up your tension a little bit here. Okay, making our way up the top of the basket, and sorry about all the wobbliness here. This is a pretty large project, so it's hard to keep everything still while I work. Okay, getting close to the top here. Okay, and then we'll slip stitch into the marked stitch. And then what we're going to do to give our handle some more stability is we're going to be working into each chain stitch here. And we're just going to slip stitch into the chain stitches of the handle until we get around to the other side. So this is going to give our handle some stability, and it's going to connect both sides. So just slip stitch into each chain all the way around your handle. Okay, and then we're into the last chain. Okay, and once we get there, again, we're gonna fasten off, leaving a long tail for seaming. Okay, and then we can pull this end through our marked stitch. We can use our hook for that. So I took my hook in from the back to the front, and we're just going to pull that tail through to the inside of the basket. Okay, so you'll have 2 tails on the top and 2 tails on the bottom, but here we have our nice handle made, and we can just weave in those ends on the inside. So you'll just repeat this process again on the opposite side, weave in all of your ends, and then you will be done with your basket.